My girlfriend's best friend smirked as she showed her the fake Tinder profile. I swore it wasn't mine. She deleted my project, my ticket to graduation. Then I caught her in another lie. My name's Jake. I'm a senior at UC San Diego, chasing a business degree to honor a promise I made to my late grandma. She always dreamed I'd be the first in our family to graduate college. My girlfriend, Emma, has been my rock through it all. We've been together 2 years, sharing late-night study sessions at the campus library and dreaming about our future. But her best friend, Sarah, always seemed to linger in the background, like a shadow I couldn't shake. Emma and Sarah grew up together in La Jolla, thick as thieves since middle school. I never thought much of it until everything unraveled. Last semester, I was neck-deep in a marketing project worth 40% of my grade. It was my ticket to graduation, the culmination of months of research and sleepless nights. I poured my heart into it, tweaking every slide, every chart, until it was perfect. I submitted it through the university's portal, feeling a wave of relief. But 2 days later, I got an email from my professor, Dr. Carter. My stomach dropped as I read his words. 0, a blank document. My project was gone. I sat there, staring at my laptop, my hands trembling. How could this happen? I double-checked the submission. Nothing. Just an empty file. My chest tightened, like the air had been sucked out of the room. I couldn't afford to fail this. It wasn't just about grades, it was about keeping my promise to Grandma, about proving I could rise above our family's struggles. I felt like I was drowning. I rushed to Emma's dorm, desperate for comfort. She was curled up on her bed, scrolling through her phone. Her hazel eyes flicked up, and I spilled everything, how my project vanished, how I might not graduate. My voice cracked as I told her about my promise to Grandma. I expected her to hug me, to tell me we'd figure it out. Instead, she gave me this sly, cold smirk. My heart skipped a beat. "What's so funny?" I asked, my throat dry. Emma set her phone down, her expression shifting to something sharp. "I deleted it, Jake," she said, her voice steady, like she'd rehearsed it. I froze. My mind couldn't process her words. "What?" I whispered, hoping I'd misheard. She crossed her arms, her lips tight. "You know why," she said. "You've been cheating on me." My world tilted. Cheating? I'd never even looked at another girl. I loved Emma. I tried to speak, but my voice caught, tears burning my eyes. This wasn't just about a grade anymore. It was about betrayal, about someone I trusted tearing my future apart. I demanded answers, but Emma just stared at me, her face a mix of anger and certainty. And in that moment, I knew Sarah was behind it. Somehow, she'd poisoned Emma's mind against me. I stood in Emma's dorm, my heart pounding, her words echoing in my head. Cheating? I couldn't believe she'd think that. My eyes stung as I tried to make sense of it. "Emma, I'd never cheat on you," I said, my voice shaking. "Where's this coming from?" She grabbed her phone, her fingers moving fast, and shoved the screen in my face. It was a screenshot of a Tinder profile mine, supposedly. My name, my old college photo from freshman year, and some flirty bio I'd never written. My jaw dropped. "This isn't me," I said, my voice rising. "I deleted Tinder years ago." Emma's eyes narrowed, her arms crossed tight. "Then why did Sarah send me this?" she snapped. My stomach twisted. Sarah, of course. I knew she'd always been too close to Emma, always whispering in her ear. But this was next level. I took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Let me prove it," I said. I pulled out my phone, downloaded Tinder right there, and tried logging in with my old account. Invalid credentials. "See?" I said, holding up the error message. "It's not active. It's fake." But Emma wasn't convinced. Her face was a storm of doubt, her lips pressed thin. "Why would Sarah lie?" she asked, her voice low, almost pleading. I wanted to scream. "Because she's jealous, Emma. She's always wanted you all to herself." But the words didn't land. Emma shook her head, stepping back. "You're just deflecting," she said. "Sarah's my best friend. She wouldn't do this." I felt like I was talking to a wall. Every word I said seemed to push her further away. A few days later, things got worse. I was at a campus cafe in La Jolla, working on a group project with my classmate Mia. We were laughing over some dumb marketing meme. Nothing serious. I glanced up and saw Emma and Sarah walking by. I waved, smiling, thinking nothing of it. But Sarah's eyes locked on me, and I saw her lean into Emma, whispering. Emma's face changed. Her smile faded. Her shoulders stiffened. I knew that look. Trouble. That night, Emma stormed into my apartment, her eyes blazing. "Who was that girl at the cafe, Jake?" she demanded. I blinked, caught off guard. "Mia? She's just a classmate. We were working on a project." Emma scoffed, her voice sharp. "Sarah said you two looked way too cozy." Laughing, sitting close. "You think I'm stupid?" My heart sank. Sarah again. I tried to explain Mia was just a friend. The project was due soon. We were just joking around. But Emma wasn't hearing it. "You're keeping secrets," she said, her voice cracking. "I can't trust you." I felt like I was losing her. "Emma, it's Sarah," I said, my voice desperate. "She's twisting everything. She's making you see things that aren't there." But Emma's face hardened. "Don't you dare blame her," she said. "Sarah's been there for me forever. You're the one lying." I couldn't believe it. No matter what I said, Sarah's words carried more weight. I felt trapped, like I was fighting a ghost. Emma grabbed her bag and left, slamming the door. I stood there, alone, my chest tight. Sarah was tearing us apart, and I didn't know how to stop her. The air between Emma and me felt heavier every day. I couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah was orchestrating it all, pulling strings I couldn't see. My words didn't reach Emma anymore. It was like Sarah had built a wall between us. I kept replaying our fights, her accusations, that screenshot of a fake Tinder profile. My chest ached with frustration. I wasn't just losing Emma, I was losing my future, my promise to Grandma, everything I'd worked for at UC San Diego. A week later, Sarah struck again. Emma and I had planned a rare date night at a little Italian place in Gaslamp Quarter. I'd saved up $100 for it, a big deal for a broke college student. I was excited to finally have Emma to myself. No Sarah, no drama. But an hour before, Emma texted me, "Can't make it. Sarah's having a rough day. She needs me." My heart sank. I stared at the phone, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. I wanted to scream, but I just typed, "Okay, hope she's all right." Inside, I was seething. Sarah always came first. That weekend, Sarah invited Emma to a party at a frat house near campus. I wasn't thrilled, but I figured Emma needed a break from our tension. "Go have fun," I told her, forcing a smile. "We'll talk tomorrow." I ended up at the same party, just hanging out with some buddies, sipping a cheap beer, trying to clear my head. Across the room, I saw Emma laughing with friends. She looked happy, relaxed, like the Emma I fell in love with. Then I noticed Sarah, her eyes darting toward me, a smirk curling her lips. She leaned into Emma, whispering, pointing my way. I was just talking to my friend Nate, joking about some dumb professor. Nothing flirty, nothing weird. But Emma's face changed. Her smile vanished. Her eyes locked on me, cold and sharp. She marched over, her steps quick, her voice slicing through the music. "So, this is what you do when I'm not around, Jake? Flirting with everyone?" I blinked, stunned. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice rising over the noise. She pointed at Nate, her hands shaking. "Sarah saw you, all cozy, laughing like I don't exist." My blood boiled. "Emma, I was talking to Nate. He's my friend. There's no one else." But her eyes were wild, full of doubt. "Sarah said you were all over some girl," she snapped. "She wouldn't lie to me." I felt like I'd been punched. Sarah again, twisting an innocent moment into poison. I tried to explain, my voice cracking. "Emma, please, she's lying. I was just talking to my buddy." But she shook her head, tears welling up. "I can't do this," she said, her voice breaking. "You keep lying, and I'm done." She turned and stormed out, leaving me standing there, the party's noise swallowing my thoughts. I couldn't sleep that night. My mind raced, replaying every moment Sarah had sabotaged us. The cafe, the Tinder screenshot, now this party. It wasn't random, she was calculated, planting seeds of doubt to tear us apart. I felt powerless, like I was screaming into a void. Emma wouldn't listen, wouldn't see Sarah for who she was. I thought about confronting Sarah, but what good would it do? Emma trusted her more than me. Every time I tried to defend myself, it only made things worse. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, my chest tight. Sarah was winning, and I was losing everything: Emma, my degree, my promise to Grandma. I had to do something, but I didn't know where to start. I couldn't keep living like this, caught in Sarah's web of lies. My relationship with Emma was crumbling, and I was done feeling helpless. I needed proof, something undeniable, to show Emma who Sarah really was. I started digging, spending hours scrolling through Sarah's social media, something I'd never bothered with before. Her Instagram, her ex posts, her old stories from our time at UC San Diego. At first, it was just the usual stuff: selfies, party pics, captions about living her best life. But then I went deeper, and the truth started to unravel. I found posts from months back, subtle but vicious. Sarah had shared memes about untrustworthy boyfriends, tagging Emma with a winking emoji. Another post was a vague jab: "Some people don't deserve the ones who love them." It hit me like a brick. She'd been planting these seeds long before the Tinder screenshot. I kept scrolling, my heart racing. There were comments on Emma's posts, little digs like, "You're too good for him, girl." Sarah wasn't just whispering lies to Emma, she was broadcasting them, chipping away at our relationship in plain sight. Then I found something worse, a private group chat from a year ago, leaked by a mutual friend who'd left it. Sarah had been venting about me, calling me a loser who's holding Emma back. She'd even mocked Emma, saying she was too naive to see through my act. My stomach churned. This wasn't just jealousy, it was obsession. Sarah wasn't just trying to break us up, she was tearing Emma down too, making her doubt herself. I saved every screenshot, every post, building a case that couldn't be ignored. I asked Emma to meet me at a quiet park near campus in La Jolla. My hands shook as I clutched my phone, loaded with evidence. When she showed up, her face was guarded, her arms crossed. "What's this about, Jake?" she asked, her voice tired. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. "You need to see this," I said, handing her my phone. I watched her scroll through the screenshots, Sarah's posts, her comments, the group chat. Her eyes widened, then narrowed, her fingers pausing over the screen. This can't be right," she whispered, her voice cracking. "Emma, she's been doing this for months," I said, keeping my voice steady. "She's been lying, manipulating you, making you think I'm the bad guy." Emma's face twisted, a mix of shock and pain. "Why would she do this?" she asked, her voice barely audible. I swallowed hard, knowing this was my chance. "She's jealous," I said. "She's always been jealous of you. Remember high school? You told me how she hated it when guys liked you instead of her. This is the same thing." Emma's eyes dropped to the ground. I could see the gears turning, the memories flooding back. "There was this guy," she said softly, almost to herself. "Senior year. Sarah was obsessed with him, but he asked me out instead. She never got over it. it. Her voice broke, and I saw tears welling up. I thought she was past that. I thought she was my friend. My heart ached for her, but I pressed on. She's not your friend, Emma. She's been using you, turning you against me, against yourself. Emma shook her head, her hands trembling. I don't know what to believe anymore, she said, her voice raw. I wanted to hug her, to tell her it would be okay, but I could see the wall between us. Sarah's lies had done their damage. Just look at the proof, I said gently. You know what's true. She nodded, but her eyes were distant, lost in the betrayal. I left her there, sitting on the park bench, staring at my phone. I'd shown her the truth, but I wasn't sure it was enough to save us. I couldn't let Sarah keep ruining everything. The evidence was clear, but Emma's hesitation in the park told me I had to end this myself. I tracked Sarah down at a coffee shop near UC San Diego, a little place off Torrey Pines Road where she hung out. She was sitting alone, scrolling through her phone, smirking like she owned the world. My blood boiled, but I kept my cool. I walked up, my voice steady. Sarah, we need to talk. She looked up, her smirk fading. What do you want, Jake? She asked, her tone dripping with fake innocence. I didn't waste time. You lied about me, I said, my eyes locked on hers. The Tinder profile, the cafe, the party. You made it all up to turn Emma against me. Her face twitched, but she leaned back, crossing her arms. You're paranoid, she said, laughing. I'm just looking out for my best friend. I wasn't buying it. Then explain this, I said, pulling out my phone and showing her the screenshots, her posts, her comments, the group chat where she called Emma naive. Her eyes flicked over the screen, and I saw her confidence crack. Where did you get this? She stammered, her voice sharp. Doesn't matter, I said. You've been trashing me for months, Sarah. You even dragged Emma down to make yourself feel better. Why? She shifted in her seat, her fingers tapping nervously. You're twisting things, she said, but her voice wavered. I pressed harder. What did you tell Emma at the party? That I was flirting? You pointed me out, lied to her face. Admit it. Her eyes darted away, and I knew I had her. You can't even keep your story straight, I said, my voice rising. You're jealous. You've always been jealous of Emma, and you're scared of losing her. Sarah's face flushed red. You don't know what you're talking about, she snapped, but her words were weak, crumbling under pressure. You made up that Tinder profile, didn't you? I said, leaning in. You faked those messages to break us up. She opened her mouth, then closed it, her hands shaking. You're obsessed with her, I said, my voice low. You can't stand that she's happy with me. For a moment, she just stared, her mask slipping. Then she stood, grabbing her bag. You're pathetic, Jake, she spat, but her voice cracked, and she stormed out. I sat there, my heart pounding. Sarah had unraveled, her lies exposed. I felt a rush of relief, but it was bittersweet. I'd caught her, but the damage was done. Emma was still caught in the middle, torn between her best friend and me. I didn't know if she'd believe me, even now. All I could do was hope the truth would sink in before it was too late. After confronting Sarah, I felt a flicker of hope, but it was fleeting. I needed Emma to see the truth, to understand how Sarah had manipulated her. I asked her to meet me at my apartment near UC San Diego. When she walked in, her face was pale, her eyes red from crying. She sat on the couch, clutching her phone, avoiding my gaze. My heart sank. I knew this conversation would change everything. Emma, I talked to Sarah, I said, my voice steady but soft. She couldn't deny it. The lies, the screenshots, the party, she made it all up. I showed her my phone again, the same screenshots I'd shown Sarah, plus a recording of our confrontation I'd secretly made. Sarah's voice, stumbling over her own lies, filled the room. Emma's hands trembled as she listened, her eyes fixed on the floor. When the recording ended, she didn't speak. The silence was deafening. I'm so sorry, Jake, she finally whispered, her voice breaking. I believed her. I let her get in my head. Tears spilled down her cheeks, and I wanted to reach out, to hold her, but I stayed still. She's been my best friend since we were kids, Emma said, her voice raw. I never thought she'd do this. I nodded, my throat tight. I know, I said, but she was jealous. She couldn't handle you being happy with me. Emma looked up, her eyes full of pain. It's not just her, she said. I betrayed you too. I deleted your project. I believed her lies over you. Her words cut deep, reminding me of the promise to my grandma I'd broken. I swallowed hard, fighting back my own tears. Why didn't you trust me? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She shook her head, sobbing. I don't know. I was so stupid. That night, Emma cut ties with Sarah. She blocked her on everything, phone, social media, all of it. But the damage lingered. We sat down to talk, really talk, for the first time in weeks. It was brutal. Every accusation, every doubt, every moment I'd felt like I was losing her came pouring out. Emma admitted she'd been wrong, that Sarah had preyed on her insecurities, but the trust between us was shattered. Every time I looked at her, I saw the smirk when she admitted to deleting my project, the way she'd chosen Sarah's lies over me. We can't keep doing this, I said, my voice heavy. I love you, Emma, but it's too much. Her eyes widened, fresh tears falling. Jake, please, she said, reaching for my hand. We can fix this, but I pulled back, my chest tight. Can we? I asked. After everything, how do we rebuild that trust? She had no answer, just more tears. We sat in silence, the weight of our broken relationship crushing us both. In the end, we agreed to break up. It wasn't loud or angry, just a quiet, aching goodbye. Emma packed her things, her movements slow, like she was hoping I'd stop her, but I didn't. When she walked out my door, the finality hit me like a wave. I stood there, alone, the apartment feeling too big, too empty. Sarah Sarah was gone from our lives, but so was Emma. The betrayal, the lies, the pain, it had cost us everything. I wondered if I'd ever feel whole again. Months have passed since Emma walked out of my apartment, but the sting hasn't faded. I wander the UC San Diego campus, passing the library where we used to study, the cafe where Sarah's lies took root. Every corner holds a memory, and each one cuts a little deeper. I salvaged my degree, begging Dr. Carter for a chance to resubmit my project. He gave me an extension, and I graduated, but it felt hollow. I kept my promise to Grandma, but the victory was tainted. The cost was too high. Losing Emma wasn't just about losing a girlfriend. It was losing the future we'd planned, late-night talks about moving to San Francisco, building a life together. I loved her, but Sarah's betrayal broke something in us we couldn't fix. I keep asking myself where it went wrong. Was it my fault for not seeing Sarah's jealousy sooner? Should I have fought harder to make Emma see the truth? I don't have answers, just questions that keep me up at night. Sarah's gone from my life, but her shadow lingers. I heard through friends she's been posting cryptic X updates, playing the victim, saying Emma chose a guy over her. It's pathetic, but I'm not surprised. She thrived on control, on keeping Emma under her thumb. I think about Emma, how she must feel, betrayed by someone she trusted for years. I hope she's healing, finding her way without Sarah's poison, but I can't reach out. It hurts too much. Looking back, I've learned to trust my gut. Sarah's manipulation was subtle, woven into smirks and whispers, but the signs were there. I ignored them, thinking I could handle it, that love would be enough. It wasn't. I've learned that trust is fragile, like glass, and once it's cracked, no amount of glue can make it whole again. I've learned to watch for people who thrive on chaos, who tear others down to feel better about themselves. Sarah was one of those people, and I'll never let someone like her near me again. I'm trying to move forward. I've got a job lined up in San Diego, a small marketing firm where I can start fresh. I'm meeting new people, making new memories, but my heart's still heavy. I miss Emma, the way she laughed, the way she believed in me before Sarah's lies took over. I don't know if I'll ever love like that again, but I'm stronger now, wiser. I know my worth, and I won't let anyone, friend or foe, make me doubt it. If you're reading this, trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't let someone else's jealousy or lies steal your happiness. I wish I'd seen it sooner. Maybe then, I'd still have Emma by my side.